Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Astatarasatasi Srimad's Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Shri Shri Nitai Gaurachandra ki Shri Shri Radha Nila Mahadava ki Shri Shri Radha Giridhari ki Giriraj Maharaj ki Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Vatsal Prabhu, how you doing? Nice to see you. You're getting younger. I said you're getting younger.
I just came from a festival down in South Texas, Cyber John Honor.
Oh,
The guy with the 7.5 acres
where?
in Edinburgh. It's just north of Macau, right near the border.
Okay.
4.5 hours.
Ooh,
He owns half the town.
okay.
It's a big farm.
Happening scene, huh? Happening scene, nice.
You know, he's trying to make it. So he's got plans. Go get her.
Okay.
See what happens.
Okay. Very nice.
But everybody got, not everybody, but a lot of people got a little sick out bug or something. Whether it was food or what. Just getting over it.
Let me just do this and then you can do that, okay? Whoops. Okay. In case they don't know. There's a very nice song which our founder Acharya would sing in the beginning of classes. So we like to follow our founder Acharya. This is the song. Very simple. Some of you are newer. It's just names of Krishna in Vrindavan. Very simple. and very sweet. So it's a nice meditation on being with Krishna in Vrindavan. So you can follow along. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivirtakacharya Astatara Satyasi Simad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Gaura Premanandi. Okay. Just wait. Can you wait? Thank you very much. Okay, here's our topic this evening is Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. Okay. During the past Thanksgiving holiday, starting Wednesday evening, we've been discussing a book, a little skinny book. Took 12 classes to cover it. It's a description, the book is a description or expanded explanation of 2 verses from Rupa Goswami's writings. Now, some of you may be newer, and in case you're newer, Rupa Goswami was one of the principal, if not the principal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose deity is on our far left. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra as the Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma. According to each of the 4 yugas, there's a particular process, especially effective for reviving dormant love of God in the heart of living beings. Without the detail, in this present age, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give that Yuga Dharma. That's the Nama Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name. So we like chanting the holy name. And his teachings, along with the chanting, were largely instructed to disciples based upon the teachings of the Vedas. He gave the essence of those teachings to his disciples and requested disciples to write books. One of the principal disciples who he made such a request to and empowered him, we heard this over the weekend, he empowered Rupa Goswami to understand everything, understand it, and empowered him to describe it as he heard it and understood it with reference from the scriptures. And so he did. And especially there was focus on the means for achieving perfection. That's a nice topic. The means for achieving, the perfection is a nice topic. The means for achieving that perfection is bhakti. So Rupa Goswami was an expert in bhakti and describing bhakti. So he wrote several books. One of them was Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, 4 parts. Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu. Sindhu means ocean. The ocean, Sindhu, of Bhakti Rasa. Bhakti Rasa Amrita. So Prabhupada made a summary study of that in English, Nectar of Devotion. Just a little appreciation. Every one of us in the Hare Krishna movement knew that Prabhupada was laser focused on giving to the world all 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. 12 cantos of Bhagavatam, 18,000 verses. That's a lot of work. He was very focused on doing that. And yet he took interrupted times. One of those interrupted times was to provide us and the world with Nectar of Devotion, because it's such an important book. Because the teachings of Lord Chaitanya are so important, and the essence of them was Bhakti Rasa. Because through Bhakti Rasa one can understand the absolute truth. Or without Bhakti Rasa you can't understand the absolute truth. You need Bhakti Rasa. So he wanted to give us the means to understand his teachings, the Bhagavatam's teachings. So Nectar Devotion, or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, has 2 verses, and what we spent the weekend doing was discussing those 2 verses. through the lens or the medium of a book by Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura was several generations later. We'll see where he was in the disciplic succession. But he was a lot of appreciation we spent appreciating, sending our glorification of Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. So there's a little biography about him and then his work and many things like that. But there's not clarity as to when he appeared or even where. It's described by Prabhupada's founder, his spiritual master, that he appeared around 1638 AD. There's another text compiled by ISKCON. Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura's appearance was some years later, 1664, in the district of Nadia. And then there's another account where it was 1662. So we get, from Bengal, whether exactly Nadia or that's the area of India that he came from. And around the time, earlier mid 1600s. He was born in a family, a Brahmana family. Radhi Brahmana sect gives his two brothers. His father's name is known, his mother's name is not known. Father, Ram Narayana Chakravartī, a nice Brahmana name, and his mother's name is unknown. So because he was from a nice Brahmin family, as a young boy, he did what young Brahmin boys do. He attended school in a nice school in district of West Bengal, in the community of Radhadesh. He studied grammar in Devagram, young boys, that's how they get entrance into Sanskrit studies. And then after he completed his grammar studies, he went to this place where he studied further, not just grammar, but the Bhakti Shastris, or Shastras. And he stayed at the home of his guru. He's a young boy. He's, a teenager at this stage. And fascinating. While he was 16 years old, he wrote 3 books. What were any one of us doing when we were 16 years old? I know what I was doing, and it wasn't writing books, I won't tell you what I was doing. Studies, but not. So, the books that he wrote, he didn't write books, he wrote commentaries. 3 very elevated books by Rupa Goswami. And they lasted for the rest of his life, and they're still well-known literatures in the Gaudiya Vaishnava circle. And one of them was a commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I mentioned the title already. And so he, as a 16-year-old boy, wrote a commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. True. And then that's 101. And then 201, in other words, the graduate study, was Ujjvala Nilamani. And it's really esoteric and detailed, and it's all about rasa. And he wrote a commentary on that. I've not even read the book, what to speak of the commentary. It's not because it's too high, it's just I'm too busy studying the things that I'm studying. But he's 16 and he's writing a commentary on Ujjvala Nilamani. And then there's another book that was written by Rupa Goswami. So he's a Rupa Goswami fan at 16. He had his hero. Teenage kids have heroes. He had his hero, Rupa. And in detail. So one of Rupa Goswami's books was Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Laghu means light. Bhagavatamrita means the nectar of the Bhagavatam. So the book, Laghu Bhagavatamrita, focuses on one topic. The one topic is avatars of Vishnu as they appear in this world. That's Laghu Bhagavatamrita. And he wrote a commentary on Laghu Bhagavatamrita when he's 16 in Sanskrit, following in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami. Pretty illustrious beginning. So what happens after that is beyond how he began. There's this saying, these first 3 books that he wrote, Viśvanātha's resumes, this is commentary about these 3 books, on these 3 books, giving them by name, are the source of transcendental joy for the Vaishnavas. Studying them makes one a Vaishnava. So I mean, that's what he wanted to do, and that's what he did, and that's what we attempted to do over this past weekend, take one of his books and help us become stronger Vaishnavas. During his youth, his family name is Cakravartī, but he was known by the celebrated name Hari Ballabha. And in addition to writing in Sanskrit, he wrote some Bengali songs in that same name. Some people say that this name was given to him when he took Vairagi Vesh. Vairagi Vesh means he became a renunciate. So as a young man growing up, he did what many young men growing up do. He became grahastha. And he didn't stay in the grahastha ashram too long. He became super overwhelmed with a life of devotion to Krishna. So he moved to Vrindavan, left his family, left his things, went to Vrindavan and stayed there for the rest of his life. Vairagi. So a little more history. Back to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was a revolutionary, a spiritual revolutionary, and he appeared in India at a time when the teachings of Shankaracharya were prevalent. The teachings of Shankaracharya became prevalent following the teachings of Buddha. And the teachings of Buddha had become in India and all over, very prevalent. But Buddha had rejected the Vedas. So Shankaracharya accepted the Vedas and spoke strongly about accepting the Vedas. And the conclusion of the Vedas was, as we know, Brahman is the absolute truth. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came at a time when that was very prevalent, very prevalent. And he taught not Brahman, but Para-Brahman. And that Para-Brahman, according to Bhagavad Gita, is a person. So he taught personalism through the medium of bhakti and chanting of Hare Krishna. So the devotional text out of a small body, such a loud sound. You didn't see it, but a really small body. Anyway. Ooh. See, it was a little challenging. And his method, his mood, and his style was not confrontational. It was devotional. He was very strong in teachings, but that wasn't the foundation of his presentation. The foundation of his presentation, along with his demeanor, which was very, very transcendental and gentle and humble, was bhakti, devotion. And he then taught his bhakti teachings and the chanting of the holy name and empowered Rupa Goswami and others. And the next generation following Rupa Goswami and the others, there was 2 generations without all the details, because some of you are newer, you don't need all the detail. But you know what happens over time when something is kind of really wonderful, and in time it kind of sags or fades. The glitter and the glory just somehow doesn't endure. So that's what happened. But there were 3 very important persons who carried it forward, and their names are on the screen here. Srinivas, Narottam, and Shyamananda. Now, for those of us who are Hare Krishna followers, these names are very important names. And Viśvanātha was in the line of Narottam. You'll see more. But it's significant, because he, Viśvanātha, as a child was brilliant. I mean, exceptional. And he had an affinity for Rupa Goswami, but he needed a connection through teachings and teachers and disciplic succession. So his connection was Narottam Das Ṭhākura, and 4th in line. Now some of you okay. Anyway, let's see what happens. Some of you have copies of Bhagavad Gita, and you can look in your Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, in the introduction section, you'll see a list of disciplic succession. And this is the partial list, because it goes all the way back to Krishna. And just there you see Lord Chaitanya's name, number 22. He had a spiritual master, Ishwar Puri, who had a spiritual master, Madhavendra Puri, who had a spiritual master, Lakshmi Tirtha, Lakshmi Pati Tirtha. And then going down, down, down. There you see Narottam, and there you see Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura's name. Now, so a detail, in case you like details. He wasn't the direct disciple, but rather this list was made by Bhaktisiddhanta, Prabhupada's spiritual master, listing super prominent persons. Those are in that list. So from Narottam to Viśvanātha, this is a detail about his life, but it's important. There were 3 other persons in disciplic succession, Guru, Shishya, and so forth, going down the line. Here's the line, by the way. There's, at the top is Lord Chaitanya, then his associate was Narottam, his disciple was Narottam Das Ṭhākura, then Gangadharayan, you see the names, and Viśvanātha is down towards the bottom. So Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura was in the line of Narottam Das Ṭhākura, was in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I'm not going to bother you with all this. This is some for people that want a little more refined understanding. This detail is found in Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura's writings, without the detail of how it's in his writings. It's the detail. If you're interested, ask me at the end. But the main point is Narottam Das Ṭhākura, and at the bottom, Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura, and then there's in between. And over to the right side, you see the name Rupa Kaviraj. Rupa Kaviraj was a contemporary, and he became deviated. We'll hear about it a little bit. Not the whole, the whole class could just be given about that deviation and how it happened. But I won't do that because there isn't time to do that. But he, Viśvanātha, confronted the deviator. He took the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and twisted it into something it wasn't. And he wrote about it and spoke about it and confronted him. And, because Rupa Kaviraj was proud, he started doing offensive things in addition to changing Lord Chaitanya's teachings. He started defending Vaishnavas. You don't do things like that. And he did stuff like that. So he fell from his spiritual position, although he was highly educated and highly learned and highly this and that and the other thing. You don't change what's given to you, and you don't offend Vaishnavas. He did both. And Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura had a broom and a dustpan, and he cleaned up the mess during his lifetime. It was a big kaboom, a big explosion, because he was a big person. So it was a contribution. Okay. After he accepted initiation, we went backwards. What happened here? What happened? He received mantra initiation. This is not correct. I changed it. Anyway, he became a grahastha, and he set up a Sanskrit school. And as a Sanskrit teacher, he wrote a Sanskrit grammar book to help his students understand Sanskrit grammar. But he wasn't just a teacher, he knew how to teach and to help the students understand. So he became a very celebrated person, even as a young man. And, it was fashionable at his time that this scholar would meet with that scholar and they would have debates. Kind of what people did at that time, especially scholarly people. And he would always be victorious. And his not just scholarship, but his devotion to Rupa Goswami and the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu grew and grew and grew. Eventually, he settled his wife in the care of someone and left for Vrindavan, wanting to give a service dedicated to Krishna in Vrindavan. Now fast forward, he's living in Vrindavan for some number of years and writing and teaching and being an exalted sadhu, and something happened. There's always something, right? The something that happened was, little history, just not too long prior to his time, there was a Muslim ruler who was wicked and powerful. And one of his favorite things was riding with his armies and going and smashing temples. Vaishnava temples. Anything other than Muslim mosques, he'd like to smash them. And if there were deities, take the deities and smash the deities. So he was a terrorist guy. And so there was a king in whoever's the parent of the babbling child, please do the needful. Thank you very much. Children like to talk. It's okay, but not. Pardon me, I'm a sannyasi. I'm not used to that kind of stuff. You're grahastas, you're used to it. Pardon me, please. So, back to King of Jaipur took the deities, protected the deities, and brought them to his capital, Jaipur. And one of the deities was his favorite deity. His favorite deity was the deity of Rupa Goswami. The deity of Rupa Goswami was Govindaji. I don't know if any of you have seen the deity of Govindaji, but he's very tall and very merciful, very powerful. And he was very devoted. He put the deity right in the center part of his palace courtyard and personally worshiped the deity. And that was just fantastic, except previously, for several generations, there was a group of Ramanadis, or followers of Ramanujacharya, that were particularly dedicated to the worship of Lord Ramachandra, therefore Ramanadis. And they were concerned. The previous kings they were supporters of our worship way over here. Not in Jaipur, but not far from Jaipur. And they became a little concerned, or more than a little concerned. We may lose our support from the king because he's a worshiper of Govindaji. So they started taking exception, without all the detail, they started taking exception to several things. One of those several things was the worship of Radha by the side of Krishna. That was one of their things. Who ever heard of this? Where is this in the scripture? These Gaudiyas, they're worshiping Radha, Govinda, but where's Radha worship in the scriptures? So they came to the king, and they said other things, a list of things, and we want an answer. Otherwise, remove Radha. That was their challenge. And he is a king, he's not a sadhu. So he contacted Viśvanātha in Vrindavan, help. Viśvanātha at this time was very old. He replied, I'm too old, but I have a student, and I'll train the student and he can come and deal with this. So the student's name was Baladev Vidyabhusan. Some of you like reading Prabhupada's books, and you'll notice, please do notice if you haven't already, Prabhupada has a dedication page in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is dedicated to Baladev. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is dedicated to Baladev, who was the intimate student of Viśvanātha. So Viśvanātha, before sending Baladev, he trained him up A to Z. These are the challenges. Here's how you respond to the challenges. Now, what are the challenges? One of the challenges, in addition to Radharani, another challenge was these people that are worshiping Radha Govinda, they don't even have a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And what's a bona fide disciplic succession that doesn't have a commentary on Vedanta Sutra? So when Baladev came, they demanded, you write a commentary, provide us with a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And it takes a lifetime to produce. He did it in short order. It was short. Govinda dictated, so his commentary is called Govinda Bhasya. And in it, he answered all their questions, like, where is it in scripture the name of Radha and the worship of Radha along with by the side of Krishna? And he answered it in Vedanta Sutra commentary. Without the details, scholars can go into the detail. But Baladev, was empowered by his guru, Viśvanātha, trained by his guru how to say what he needed to say. And Govindaji dictated the Bhagavatam to him. He just said, I just wrote it. So this all happened in Jaipur. And when Baladev explained his commentary in Vedanta Sutra, they had no complaint. Because it was different than their commentary, but he was, impenetrable. So here's a nice, for those of you who have not seen, this is a photograph of Radha by the side of Govindaji. And the worship of Radharani is mentioned in the Shrutis, and he included that in his commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So going fast forward, here's this little section, a significant event in his life, this confrontation with Rupa Kaviraj. And he's well studied. I'm not going to go into the detail, but he established his own doctrine that was actually explicitly, purposefully in contradiction to Lord Chaitanya's teachings, who he was in the line of. And he changed some of the teachings, he changed some of the practices. One of the teachings and practices, Lord Chaitanya, most of you will know, Lord Chaitanya, in addition to chanting Hare Krishna and giving teachings of devotion, he taught that the kind of love that's found in Vrindavan by the residents of Vrindavan during Krishna's youth in Vrindavan, the cowherd boys, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the gopis, it's the highest kind of love because of the intimacy of that love as a small boy, as if he was a small boy, but showing his opulence, lifting Govardhan Hill and many other things, but a sweetness of exchange. And amongst those sweetness of exchanges, that the very special was the position of the gopis. So Rupa Kaviraj had this deviation. One of his leading students, he had him dress up as a gopi and was training him how to enter into the mood of being a gopi, dressed as a gopi, although he wasn't a gopi, he was his male disciple. And it's not part of Lord Chaitanya's teachings. It's not recommended at all, but that's what he was promoting. And then some other things, and some other things, and some other things. He was in opposition to worshipping Shalagram Shila using Tulsi, because the damsels of Vrindavan didn't do that. And nor did he advocate following Ekadasi. I mean, I don't know where he got that from, but he just took some stuff and put it in a blender and turned it on high speed. He came out with a new teaching. And Viśvanātha, in his writings, and as well, because they both were residents of Vrindavan, they disagreed. And Viśvanātha's teachings prevailed. And he, Viśvanātha, rooted his teachings in Rupa Goswami's teachings and Jiva Goswami's, who's the disciple of Rupa Goswami's teachings, and his Sandarbhas, particularly Bhakti Sandarbha. There's more detail. He explicitly, from that chart you saw before, he offended and vilified a very exalted Vaishnavi who was a resident of Vrindavan. So he was in big disfavor. Literally, they ripped off his neckpiece and kicked him out of the Vaishnava society because of his offensiveness and deviations. And, Viśvanātha was right in the thick of it. Now, there's a few other things, and I'm going to try to bring this to a close because there's a lot to say. Some of you may know, many of you may know, that there's a very lengthy 17-volume set of books that sit on your shelf like this, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And the author is Krishnadas Kaviraj. And Krishnadas Kaviraj describes the Gayatri mantras that were given in Lord Chaitanya's line. Skipping the detail, that one of the Gayatri mantras is called the Kama-gayatri mantra, and it's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the mantra is identical with Krishna. These are his words. It's in Bengali, but in this king of mantras, there are 24 and a half syllables, and each syllable is a full moon. This aggregate of moons has caused the moon of Sri Krishna to rise and fill the three worlds with prema. Now there's details and details of how he describes this, because it's more than one verse, it's several verses. And the details I'm not going to go into because of time and circumstance. But there's a certain Sanskrit rule that Viśvanātha was unfamiliar with, and it's because there's no such thing as a half a syllable. There's 25 syllables don't become 24 and a half because you don't have a half a syllable. And Viśvanātha, was so devoted to Viśvanātha, he became disturbed, so disturbed that how can this perfect person, Krishnadas Kaviraj, write something that isn't supported by Sanskrit rule? But he can't be wrong because he's a perfect person. He was like literally torn. And so he was sitting by the side of Radhakund. This is a very old photograph. This is way after Vishwanath's time because there weren't photography machines during his lifetime. But it's very different today than what you see in this photo. It was very different Vishwanath's time. So he's residing by the side of Radhakund, praying to Srimati Radharani for insight, because that's what great souls do. They turn to Krishna and Radharani for the revelation. And it wasn't happening. He just to get the picture, he was so determined to be able to receive the understanding of his revered teacher, Krishnadas Kaviraj. He decided within his mind, he didn't say anything to anybody, he decided he was just going to fast until death by the side of Radhakund. That's pretty severe. At night, he fell asleep. And when he fell asleep, Radharani appeared in his dream. And when Radharani appeared in his dream, she gave the understanding of how what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami had written was correct. And she explained, there's the detail, I'm not going to read the detail. There's a dictionary, a Sanskrit dictionary in the library at Radhakund that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami read, and it's from that he drew this half a syllable idea. You go in the morning to the library, such and such book, and you'll find the explanation. So, don't be in anxiety. He gave the name of the book. Varna Gama Bhasvat. Consult this book, and you'll see what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has written is correct. And I want you, so she empowered him, I want you to explain the mantra. And she disappeared in his dream. And he woke up in the morning, and he was three things. He was astonished. And he took it as a sign that Radharani was accepting him as an intimate servitor of his, because she asked him to write the commentary on the mantra. And so he did. And she gave the clue how his faith in Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was perfectly correct. Don't doubt him, don't doubt yourself. Perfectly correct. And so he wrote a book explaining Gayatri Mantra, Kama-gayatri Mantra. It's a whole book. And in the book he discloses this dream and Radharani instructing him, and so forth. Now, I don't know, is Amala Nam here? Not here. Not here. Is there some way, I'd like somebody tell me, just say yes. There's a way, I don't need to know what the way is, but is there a way that a list of the writings of Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura can be circulated to our community? Yes or no? Yes. So can you have somebody do that? Because it was circulated. Just see, because I'd like our devotees in the audience who don't know who Viśvanātha is to know a little bit about him. And he was, prolific. If he's at 16 writing commentaries, what's he do for the rest of his life? And very elevated. Very elevated. Not so elevated you can't see it, but foundational. So here's a little description of the categories. 13 commentaries, 3 original texts. One of them was this commentary on the Kama-gayatri mantra. Original works 15, compilations of Padyavali. Padyavali means prayers. So he gathered prayers from acharyas and people that he liked, and he put it in a book. This particular book that we studied, this Madhurya Kadambini, has a special appreciation for him and his writing. He who reveals the jewel of devotion to Viśvanātha, the Lord of the universe, and thus expands the circle of bhakti, is a Cakravartī. And he is Viśvanātha Cakravartī. Here's a poet. I don't know the poet, but during a certain period of time, a celebrated poet, appreciating Madhurya Kadambini, this book that we studied. By the way, all of what we did in the past 12 classes, it's all YouTube, and you can access it if you want to learn more about this book. But here's the commentary. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura has benedicted the whole world by writing Madhurya Kadambini. In reality, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the speaker of this book. He has spoken it through the mouth of Sri Cakravartī. Some people say that Sri Cakravartī Ṭhākura is an incarnation of Srila Rupa Goswami. He is very expert in the art of describing extremely complex truths in an easily understandable manner. O ocean of mercy, Viśvanātha, I am a great fool. Kindly reveal the mystery of your transcendental qualities in my heart. This is my prayer at your lotus feet. So in short, he became a well-known author, composer of songs, composer of poems, and a very important person in our Vaishnava line. Very important person. And here's a detail I like. It is said when he was composing commentary, because one of the things he did, he wrote it, as Prabhupada did, a commentary on every verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's one of his compositions. Every verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's very elevated. Anyways, it is said that when he was writing, sometimes it was raining in the rainy season. And when it rained, there was water everywhere, but it wouldn't fall on him. It wouldn't smear the page when he was writing. Mystical. He wrote a commentary on Kavi Karnapur's Ananda Vrindavan Champu on the banks of Radhakund. And here's a couple more things. I'll just end with this. One of the strong points that he made in his writings, I won't go into the detail, but during the time So this is up here. This is Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya spoke about the glory of Vrindavan and the love of the residents of Vrindavan for Krishna, and especially the gopis. And because it became, a central part of his teaching, there were people that abused his teaching, and then people that objected to the abuse of his teaching. In other words, people were imitating, enjoying with young girls, like Krishna. They were imitation Krishnas. So it became an issue. And therefore, Rupa Goswami, who Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura looked up to very much, spoke about actually the relationship between Radha and Krishna is a relationship of marriage, swakya, just without going into the philosophical part. And then following him, Jiva Goswami, his own student, took the position of parakya, which means no. In the Leela, eternally in the spiritual world, they're energy and energetic. They're inseparable. But in Leela, they're not married. Anyway, it became an issue. And Viśvanātha came chronologically later, and he spoke very clearly about misconceptions of Radha and Krishna relationship, and Krishna and the gopis relationship. And wrote books about it. And was a very strong advocate of the parakya topics. And during his time, there were some people in Vrindavan that didn't like that. So they decided to kill him. I mean, there's a say, if you can't beat him, join him. But if you can't beat him, kill him. So they had a plot, a murder plot. Some pundits knew that every day, I'll just say it, this is try to end. Every day he would go out into the field and gather flowers to offer to his deity. And they figured when he's off in the field gathering flowers to offer to his deity, that's the time to get him. So they saw him and they went charging to get him, but suddenly he disappeared. Instead of seeing him, there was this young girl. And they say, "Oh, young girl, did you see a sadhu here a little while ago? We saw him, but do you see where he went?" And she turned and smiled, and suddenly she turned into Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. I mean, there's some further detail. And so they understood Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura, was a mystical person. He appeared to be, a scholarly person that had a view that differed from theirs. But he was an intimate maidservant of Srimati Radhika. They asked this young girl, "Who are you?" "I'm a maidservant of Radharani." "Oh. In which way did this sadhu go? Can you tell us?" And she turned and showed the form of Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. Anyway, they were very sorry that they had done what they did. They fell at his feet and apologized, disclosed the whole thing, and he said, "I know it's okay. But please don't do these murderous plot things anymore." There's a nice story, and I'll end with this. There's a little deity that he worshipped, named Gokulananda. The history of this deity is, there was a brahmachari who made it his business to travel to holy places for purification. And one of the places he went on pilgrimage to was to Mathura. When he was in Mathura, he had a dream. In his dream, his deity instructed him, "Please go to Vrindavan, find Viśvanātha. I want to be worshipped by him." He woke up. So when he woke up, he was jubilant to get this direct instruction. He found Viśvanātha, and he handed the deity to Viśvanātha and told him what the deity said in his dream. And he said, "Please, you take the deity back. I'm not qualified to worship this deity, and it will be just a botheration. So you please, you're doing a nice job worshiping. You keep the deity." The brahmachari was sad. That night, the deity appeared in his dream again. The deity said, "Go again tomorrow, and I'll arrange for him to accept my worship." So that night, the deity appeared in Viśvanātha's dream and instructed him, "Please say yes, don't say no." So he worshipped the deity for the balance of his life in a very simple way. A very small deity, but very sweet deity. Last, there's a nice history. I'll say this quickly. The details are very nice, but minus all the nice details. There was a brahmana who had come from Vrindavan, and he wanted to bring a gift from Vrindavan to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what did he do? He brought a little Govardhan Shila, that's what's in this photograph, and a string of gunja berries that's used along with the worship. And he gave them as a gift to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worshipped in a very extraordinary, not ordinary way. But you see in the photograph, the Shila has an impression because he rubbed the Shila again and again and again, made its thumbprint in the Shila, and cried, offered loving obeisances to Govardhan. And after some time, he gave the Govardhan Shila to Raghunath Das that he had personally worshipped. And then it shows the line of who gave it to whom, and eventually ended up in the care of Viśvanātha. The Govardhan Shila, personally worshipped by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all these other elevated personalities. And they gave it to Viśvanātha to worship. So that Shila is on the altar of Gokulananda in Vrindavan. So there's more. I had to skip some of the detail, but very elevated person. I mean, I can say from the time that I spent going into this little book, Madhurya Kadambini, these 2 verses of Rupa Goswami and the stages of bhakti, my appreciation from Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura has gone way up, and I'm sure it's going to stay up. And maybe the little bit that you've heard just this evening, you'll understand he is an exceptional person, worthy of our giving our audition to, and his writings. When you get to the stage in your devotional life that you read his commentaries on the Bhagavatam, etc., you'll understand he's exceptional Vaishnava with deep realizations and very inspirational personality. So I just wanted to share this evening something about his life. And if and when time permits, you can listen to the recordings of these seminars we gave this weekend or classes. It's, especially in the beginning part, it's very relevant for a person's practicing bhakti. And then it starts to get pretty esoteric with the higher and higher and higher and higher and higher stages. Well, thank you for being very patient and sticking around. Do we have, what's our procedure? Chirag, you want to? Good to see you. We missed you this weekend.
Thank you so much. His Holiness Romapad Swami Maharaj. Please help me welcome and show our appreciation, how grateful we are that Maharaj takes so much time and he comes in enlightens all of us here with some of the details that would probably take years for us to do the research as Maharaj does. So thank you once again, Maharaj, and we're very grateful and we're very thankful. Today's Sunday feast sponsor family is Ankit and Akshara Jagwani. Is celebrating Akshara Jagwani's birthday. So happy birthday to Akshara. Our kirtan today is not only dedicated for the devotees in Bangladesh with some of the atrocities that are happening, so we are praying, and today's event is actually prayer for peace. And we have been doing our kirtan since 4 o'clock, and the kirtan will continue